Hey guys, what is up? Bigredreviews here, back again with another video. We are currently about 6 days away from 2025 already, can you believe it? And I figured I'd want to come on here and do something that I think I've done the past couple years and talk about my favorite films of the year, my top 5 to be exact. Now, I haven't seen everything. I haven't seen Gladiator. I haven't seen Nosferatu. I haven't seen Anora. I know, I haven't seen a lot of stuff, but I'm basically doing out of the top 5 of the movies that I have seen. So if there's movies that I don't mention or I haven't seen, like the ones I just mentioned, let me know in the comments below and let me know where you'd rank them. On the honorable mention, because it didn't come out this year technically, but I saw it twice, frickin' Interstellar. I know it came out 2014, but it came out in IMAX. I saw it twice. Life-changing. It was like I saw it again for the first time. This is not my top 5. This is an honorable mention. If you guys didn't get the chance to see it, please look up. There has to be some theaters around that are still showing it. Go watch Interstellar in IMAX. It will change your life. It was one of my favorite theater experiences. But let's get into the actual top 5. My number 5 is actually The Wild Robot. Now this, I feel like this was talked about, but I feel like this movie kind of got overshadowed by Inside Out 2, which is another one I haven't seen. I haven't even seen the original. But I feel like this movie really wasn't talked about enough as much as it should have. And I actually didn't even know anything about this movie. I don't want to be like some film, oh, well, I was going to see it because I know about film. I actually wasn't even going to plan to see it until my friend Aiden came in town. And he was like, hey, some friends were going to hang at Disney Springs. Do you want to come and watch Wild Robot? I was like, bet. I didn't see any trailer. I didn't even know what the movie was about. I saw like one like picture from it, and I knew that it was about some robot. That was all I knew. Like some robot on like an island or something. I didn't know about how the robot gets like a baby bird. I didn't know about the fox played by Pedro Pascal, or the bear played by Mark Hamill, or what the story was. And this movie was truly moving. First off, the animation style, it's incredible. Like I said, I think I talked about Puss in Boots in one of my videos like a year ago. Ever since Into the Spider-Verse came out, I love that different animation studios have been pushing to use a similar type to animation where it looks almost hand-drawn and stuff. And this film was beautiful. It wasn't just a normal 3D looking like boring film. Like if you ever seen the show What If, like that type of animation that sucks ass, no. This was truly beautiful. And the story was, man, it was touching. I mean, if you guys don't know, I grew up, I'm still growing up. I'm 24, but I'm still growing up with a mom. It was just me and my mom. And so this movie having to deal with like motherly love and how important mothers are and all the stuff they sacrifice, like this robot's literally like trying to almost sacrifice itself to save this baby bird. It was truly incredible. I really loved it, and it was probably one of the biggest surprises of the year for me, if not the biggest surprise, just because of how little I did know about it going into. Number 4 is actually Saturday Night. Now I was hyping this movie up. No one actually that I knew was really hyping it up, except my friend Casey and his girlfriend Gabby, who they actually went to go see it with me, thankfully. But I'm not even that big of a Saturday Night fan. It's just this trailer, and when I found out that they were doing like a movie that actually took place in real time, like this movie's 90 minutes long, and it starts at 10 o'clock in like at 10 p.m. and it goes till 11:30, and literally the movie, it's not a spoiler alert, they said it ends with Chevy Chase saying live from New York, it's Saturday night from the first SNL. And when I found out they were doing that, I was hooked incredibly. The set design, the actors playing like Chevy Chase, John Belushi, Dan Aykroyd, they were incredible. The guy who plays, I forgot his name, but he plays Lorne Michaels, incredible. One thing that I really loved, and I always talk about on this channel, is the score to this music carried this movie heavy. And what I found out was they actually recorded the score live on the set.
We're doing something that's not the typical process.
Every day we'd wrap around 5 or 6 p.m. and then we'd start recording. And we recorded the entire score live on set. I could show him a scene and he'd get, I know what to do with that.
I mean, you just get sucked into this movie because it's not like Avengers or anything, but it was really like you're in here for the 90 minutes. You want Lorne Michaels to succeed. You want SNL to succeed, and you know it. In the back of your head, you already know it succeeds. It's been on for 50 years. But just seeing them inch closer, and every time it shows the time, and you're like, oh my God, we're 30 minutes away. Oh my God, we're 5 minutes away. Belushi's not signing his contract. Chevy Chase is being an asshole. It was just really great. It was really great cinema. I had to see it twice. I was really shocked by this movie, and I do suggest, even if you have the faintest idea of SNL, even if you don't know what SNL really is, I feel like most people in America know, at least have seen SNL, especially nowadays with TikTok. like they've been pushing more of their clips on TikTok and stuff, like Domingo and all that. So I feel like a lot of people, at least in my generation, do know what SNL is. So go check this movie out. It's only like an hour and a half long, but it's really a good trip. Number 3, and I'm so pissed I didn't do a review for this movie because I was out of town, was Wicked. Now, I did not know anything about Wicked. I mean, I knew some basics because my friend's wife is a really big fan of like the musical, so I've heard some of the songs before, and I knew I've always been a fan of when like prequels, obviously prequels are cool, but then they do stuff where it intertwines with the original story. I think that's why I like Better Call Saul so much, and I've talked about Better Call Saul a lot, multiple times. That show is as good as Breaking Bad, if not a little better at times. And in the final 2 seasons of Better Call Saul, they start having moments or even full episodes that take place during Breaking Bad, like during Ozymandias and all that. And I've always loved that because it just makes it just so much richer. Because then when you go back and watch Breaking Bad, you're like, oh my god, Saul's doing this right now, I know that. And Wicked is no exception. Now granted, this is a part 1, so a lot of the stuff for, it's not a spoiler because you already know what's gonna happen, a lot of the stuff for part 2 of Wicked, which comes out next year, it's called For Good, takes place during and after Wizard of Oz. So that's where we're gonna see more of like the, oh my god, Dorothy's going here, Glinda's sending her off and all that. But this was great. I grew up watching Wizard of Oz. My mom is actually a big fan of Wizard of Oz. She'd always tell me how she was scared of the monkeys flying. And so I ended up, it's been a long time since I watched it actually, so I ended up rewatching Wizard of Oz beforehand. And obviously, you know, I know the troubled production, but that movie holds up. That movie holds up really well, especially for a 39 film. I mean, Judy Garland is killing it. All these actors are killing it. The comedy in that film surprisingly like hits nowadays. It's not like the old school like 1940s like transatlantic accent type of you know, like the yeah, Sade, like that. I mean, there's scenes where like just the lion just says the dumbest shit. There's a scene where they're going to like raid like they're going to like attack the witch or something, and the Scarecrow pulls out a pistol. And I just never noticed that until I rewatched it. I'm like, where the fuck did Scarecrow get a pistol from? But no, Wicked, I'm sorry, let's get back on track. Wicked was incredible. Ariana Grande, Cynthia Erivo, I think her last name is, they kill this show, especially Cynthia, and especially Ariana. I mean, you really can't do like, oh, this one was like the scene killer, because Ariana is killing it as Glinda this whole movie. And like, I like Ariana's music. I always forget she was an actor at times too, but you can tell she really has passion for Wicked, and she kills all the songs. Her comedic timing, I mean, I took my family, 8 of my family members, right after Thanksgiving to go watch this, and they usually don't like movies nowadays or whatever, like, you know, like humor, like dumbass humor, but they were laughing their ass off with Glinda. Like, the shit she would do is so funny. Like, her saying she doesn't get her way. The musical numbers, amazing. I listen to these in the car. I mean, the No One Mourns the Wicked, incredible. I listen to it all the time. I literally got out of the car going to Ale House the other day, and she was doing her opera section, Ariana Grande, and some lady heard it and laughed, and she was like, I love that song. Yeah, No One Mourns the Wicked. And then you have my second favorite. I mean, obviously, okay, Defying Gravity is my favorite. Defying Gravity is such a good song, and that's where Cynthia really steals the show right at the end. I mean, her singing and acting in that whole Defying Gravity section is truly incredible. I get chills every time I watch that, even if it's on a shitty filmed version on TikTok. I rewatch it. It's still amazing. Those high notes are incredible. I literally had to drag some of my friends who have never seen Wicked to go just to build up to that level. So I'm not going to count Defying Gravity because obviously that's usually everyone's favorite and that's like the big one. But my personal favorite, other than Defying Gravity, is One Short Day. It really grew on me. I love One Short Day. First off, you get the 2 cameos from the OGs. I don't know their names exactly, I'm so sorry, but the original in 2003 Broadway who played Glinda and Elphaba. And I just love like this whole, you know, here's the true story of the wizard, and you can just tell it's bullshit. And I just really like the rhythm of that song. Then you have Popular, which is the iconic song that I know they were hyping up before the movie, and I'm really excited. I do know what happens in part 2. I did read like part of the book, and I read what happens, and a lot of the songs that are coming, I know are going to be really good, and I'm just really excited for it. And I'm glad they did part 1 and 2 because they were able to just really flesh this out. I think ending at Defying Gravity was like a perfect stopping point, right? I don't see where they could have ended it before that. Number 2, Deadpool and Wolverine, ladies and gentlemen. Now, obviously, okay, anytime I put a Marvel movie in my top 2 or 3 of whatever, I feel like I have to say this. I know they're not cinema. I know they're not, Interstellar level or, like Oppenheimer level or whatever. I don't care. You go to different movies for different things, right? Look at the 2 different versions of Godzilla, for example, right? you have Godzilla Minus One, which is a gritty, character-driven movie that focuses on the PTSD from World War II and that personifies through Godzilla, and it's just really gritty. And then you have Godzilla, the American version, where him and Kong are just fucking punching other big-ass creatures in the head and you're screaming, right? Both versions work, right? I go to see Marvel because they're entertaining, especially Deadpool. Funny, it's rated R, you get some cool action scenes. You get, the nostalgia bait. But it's a connected universe, and I just love, and obviously Marvel, like I've said this a million times, 2022 was a low point for Marvel. Yes, I know. I stuck through it, and now, what are we getting out of it now? We had Guardians 3, we had Agatha, which was really good. If you haven't seen Agatha, please go watch Agatha. It was really fucking good. You had Loki Season 2, and the Marvels. I like the Marvels. I know a lot of people didn't, but I did. And now Deadpool and Wolverine, which was really hyped. I mean, this movie was like borderline, if this movie didn't hit, then Marvel's truly like dead. And just seeing Wolverine, Hugh Jackman back, I mean, I was really skeptical because I really love Logan, and I think the ending to Logan is like perfect for the character, like Hugh Jackman's version of it. But I just really like what they did here, and you could tell that Ryan Reynolds deep down really does respect Hugh Jackman. I mean, there's a scene where he's like, you're the best Wolverine, and in the sense of the movie, it's like, oh, you're the best variant. But you could obviously tell he's saying like, no, Hugh Jackman, you're the best Wolverine, you're the X-Man, and he's speaking for us. This movie is funny as shit, but it's also really heartfelt. And I saw a lot of people on Twitter saying like they wish it was more heartfelt. I mean, the ending of the movie is truly heartfelt. Wade comes to grips with like actually what it means to be a hero, and how even though Vanessa like has seen someone else or whatever, he still wants to save them, and he's constantly telling Wolverine throughout this film like these 9 people are my life, like please help me. And then you have this Wolverine's arc where he feels like he failed everyone and he's not a hero, and he really has to just dig himself out of that hole. Seeing Laura X-23 again really helping him dig out of that hole, and she's like, you're not a great guy, and like she says like you weren't the right guy until you were, right? It's just one of those things where Wolverine always steps up and is there. And I just really like that. And then obviously the ending credits where you get the like 2-minute tribute to the old X-Men films, that was like really gut punching. I watched those films. I wasn't like growing up like, oh fuck yeah, X-Men, like yeah. I wasn't like that because I didn't really get into Marvel until Avengers 1 dropped. But it still even hit me. I was like, damn, like this is sad. And like I was getting like, not teary, but I was like, damn, like, even though some of those movies are mid, like just seeing like these memories and stuff, this is like Hugh Jackman, this has been in Hugh Jackman's life for like 20 years, right? And I could see people in the theater getting really affected by that. And obviously the cameos, I mean, seeing Blade again was just crazy. I mean, I've seen some of the older Blades a little bit. I've never like watched them all like fully, but I know how much of an impact. I mean, Blade literally saved superhero movies. It was the first time studio execs were like, man, superhero movies could work. And I mean, that's like the basis foundation for what the MCU eventually became. If we never got X-Men or Blade or any of that, you wouldn't have gotten fucking MCU and what we have now. And I really loved Gambit. I'm so glad that Channing Tatum was there. Not a lot of people knew this, not a lot of my friends at least, was the reason why that was such a big deal was because he's been trying to make a Gambit movie for like a decade, and the studios kept hoeing him. So I'm glad Ryan Reynolds finally let him do this and stuff. And yeah, everything in this movie is just incredible, guys. I'm so glad that, it's good that we just got one Marvel movie this year just to sit back while they're regrouping after, the firing of Kang and all that. Now we're going into Doomsday, and, Marvel's looking up, and I think this movie's good. I mean, we have Captain America in 2 months. We have Fantastic Four. On the other hand, I really am excited for DC, though, and I will get into that in another video, but yeah. And number 1, a movie that a lot of people forget came out this year because it's almost a year ago, Dune Part 2. When I was going into making my list, I swore Dune came out in like December of 23, and I was like, damn. But no, it was like March of 23, and this movie fucks. Everyone on this movie is just A-game. I think it was a Critics' Choice Award recently, which only nominated it twice, and Anora had like 10. And I'm like, how the fuck is this movie not, like, if this movie doesn't at least get nominated for Best Picture, Best Directing, and Best Cinematography, I'm fucked in the head, I guess. Because, I mean, listen, Greg Fraser is one of, if not the best cinematographer nowadays. It does suck that he's not going to be on Dune Messiah, Dune 3, but, well, technically Dune 2, I guess, because it's not, whatever, because they split the first movie in 2 parts. But he is going to be in the Batman 2, and he did the Batman 1, and the cinematography in Batman was really fucking good, and, at least he got to do part 1 and part 2 of the first Dune. And, I mean, the first scene where they're in the eclipse and it's just orange, it was like 10 a.m. and like Disney Springs. I'm watching this. I'm like, holy fuck. And I knew about Dune, like I know how things go. I've like read the book, but you know that book is hard to read, and I'm a good reader. It's really hard to read. It's like the first book is almost as if like you picked up Goblet of Fire, and Goblet of Fire is the first book and not the fourth. Like you're supposed to know who all these people are, all these factions. Like it's really tough, and the movie did a good job of like showing these things. But Timmy, I mean, here's the thing, unpopular opinion. I think Zendaya is slightly overrated. I think she's really good. She really killed it in this movie. I just think she's slightly overrated. But someone who really took me by surprise, and I was originally a low-key little hating of, was Timothée Chalamet. I mean, he's been on a roll lately, right? He's in Dune. He's doing this Bob Dylan biopic, which I kind of saw snippets of, and he looked really good in it. And and he killed it in this movie. I mean, I went back and watched Dune Part 1 because I haven't seen it, obviously, in like 3 years. And I was like, damn, he's really good in this movie. But you could just see how he's worked on his craft in those 3 years. I mean, this is a totally different Paul, and it's only like 6 months or whatever in the timeline. Or actually, I think it's like right after the movie. But it's still a different Paul, because Paul, it's a different Paul because now he's dealing with all these like visions of the future and stuff, which he really wasn't getting in the first movie except like 1 or 2. And damn, this movie was incredible. I mean, I really can't see anything bad about it. I mean, the score, it's a crime that the Oscars have that, you know, rule where it's like, oh, you can't use a score if it uses like 20% of the old score for the previous movie. And it's so dumb because like the ending score to this movie is so beautiful. The whole lead 'em to paradise. I mean, the Harkonnen planet being in like black and white and like it's just devoid of life and color. The acting. I mean, there's some comedic moments in here, and just seeing Paul come to terms with what he needs to do at the end and lead him to paradise. And now we got left off on this cliffhanger where, you know, he basically just, and a lot of people realize this, he basically just fucked the whole galaxy of humans because now he's cutting off spice trade, right? I mean, Denis is one of the best, I would say the best director right now, but I'm a really big Christopher Nolan fan, and I do think he is the best working director right now. But Denis is definitely at like number 2. I mean, top 3 for sure, but number 2. I mean, I don't think he's ever made a miss. But yeah, guys, that's my top 5. Let me know if you disagree or agree. Let me know what movies I didn't mention that I should watch. And yeah, it's been a great year for movies. 2025 is looking pretty good. I mean, we have Fantastic Four, Superman, all these things, but 26 is where it's really going to hit hard. We have Batman 2, we have Supergirl, we have the Odyssey movie directed by Christopher Nolan. I mean, we're in for a treat these next 2 years, guys. Stay healthy, stay safe. Until next time, bye-bye.